Procedurally generated, permanent death, roguelikes allow their unique mechanics to be incorporated into any genre, resulting in a sea of diverse games with infinite possibilities. And with new unique roguelikes being released every single day, I like to play and analyze the ones that may not have had the chance to shine yet. If that sounds interesting, welcome to the series where we learn what works, what doesn't, and why, all in search to find the next big roguelike.
GNOMES! This is apparently a tower defense roguelike, and if you've been following this channel, you might have realized I've played quite a few tower defense roguelikes in the last few months, and usually the number one problem I have is it's really hard to make a roguelike also be a tower defense game, so usually the roguelike elements are pretty minor a lot of times, but this game's been doing pretty well recently, and it also says that it has deep roguelike progression, so that definitely caught my eye. Game was released about a month ago, overwhelmingly positive review, and also kind of has like this dwarf fortress vibe visually, which is pretty exciting. Sounds fun to me, so let's go check it out. Getting started, move camera or right mouse, okay. Can I zoom out? No, I cannot zoom out. I took a picture apparently. Buy one house, okay, common house, build cost 3. One population blocks enemies. This is where our enemies are gonna be spawning, I assume. So I can put... Oh, this is another one where you can actually create, like, block the paths and everything. Reduce enemy speed. So if I do something like this here, now buy one gnome. So what's the difference between... Oh, this is just to block enemies, but the gnome also blocks them. Intriguing. Oh, something like this. Buy as many crops as possible. Crops may only be planted on fertile soil. Oh, this gives me, like, money passively. Ah, it's like Plant vs. Zombie, right? Buy as many crops as possible. Start Goblin Raid. Nice. Lovely. It's doing great. Love it. Cool. Oh, okay, and every time I get one gold... Okay, so in 3 turns, this will pay out. Oh, I can just always move the gnomes? Interesting. But the camps always change. Browse shop. Welcome to the shop. Hover over items to inspect. Those are like more the roguelike elements, I would imagine. Okay, so I have 1 free reroll per day. Gnomes destroy nearby trees each day for more money. I think there seems to be like a heavy emphasis on like making money through roguelike progression, which sounds really interesting. Common weed. Build cost 1, deal 1 damage when trampled. Spreads each day. Oh, I'm really liking some of this stuff right now. I can either buy stuff here or build things here. Deals 1 damage when trampled and spreads each day. I want it to be close to here, right? Also, I want more monies. Even from the start, there seems to be a lot of different ways to approach this, which sounds very interesting. Oh, you know there's some strategy when you have a reverse previous action button. Wait, that... Okay, this spreads each turn. Spawn stronger goblins. But hopefully this should stop them on their path, right? Let's just be greedy and do this. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I also want this to be next to a tree, right? Because I destroy trees. Oh my gosh. Okay, this game is great already. Oh, nice. I can just literally block them like this. Oh, because it's not about hitting here, it's about getting in this area right there. I'm just realizing the potential of just the very beginning right now and seeing how much can happen. Wait, so what's the problem with this stuff? I can't build on it. That's the problem. It's good early, probably not great late. Oh, they can eat my stuff? Oh, shoot! My poor sunflowers, no! Every round is pretty unique. Oh my gosh, they're growing soon. No. What have I done? Here we go. Oh man, they get really slowed down by this. Oh no, they're just big boys. I love the animation of these things falling down like that. There's a lot to do in this game. Holy macaronis. I love the way they're just... They're cutting it! Yes! Okay, no, it grew back! No! I'm not crazy, right? This is a burger, right? These are burgers, right? This is a burger goblin. I want to get more relics. Immediately restore 5 health. Yeah, let's do that. Can I use it? Oh, I'm limited. Oh, I'm limited in relic slots. Interesting. Immediately banish this and gain a random upgrade. Let's try it. Gnomes plus 1 damage. The -1 health every day. Nice. Ooh, gnomes get plus 1 damage for nearby houses. Ooh, I like that. So what is a nearby house? Okay, it is diagonal as well. So now I can actually use my houses for something. Okay, where are we at? Oh gosh. They're splitting. How am I gonna deal with this? At least they're not burger goblins, but still. You know what I want? More money. That's what I want to do. Level 1 gnomes get +1 damage. Wait. No slots available! No! Oh, I can banish this stuff. So you have like an inventory management thing. There's so much going on. I'm loving this. They level up as well? Aw, my gnomes are improving every day. Let's try this one. Okay, it's going well. Nice. Hey, what? I have 100 or more weeds at the same time. Oh boy, it's spreading. Oh, that's a big boy. Armor goblin. All right. Well, you're gonna go here. There's not much I can do here. What if I do this? Haha. Then you have to go through the swamp, and you get slowed down because you suck. Crops and weed penetrate armor. I found the build, people. Okay, here we go. Wait, what? No. Don't you dare. Good. Holy shrimp, that's a lot of gnomes. There's a lot of actions you need to do in this game, which I'm down for. That should be pretty good. Oh, these goblins, they don't have a chance against my gnome army. Don't destroy my stuff. No! Almost destroyed everything. My rice, man. How many houses can I build? Can I just build a bunch of houses? Apparently so. You could just put a bunch of archers. There you go. It's that easy. Archer here, archer there, archer everywhere. Okay, that's doing pretty well. Oh gosh. Help! No! Ah! Help! No! Okay, wait. Can I move them while? No, I can't. But can I build? Am I just dead? I think I'm dead. No! I refuse. I didn't realize how bad this would be. I do not want to die. I'm so close. I'm so close. No! Defeated. Hey, but I unlocked more stuff. These are like starter packs that you unlock. Full map screenshot. Oops, no, okay, well. Wow, very, very unique concept. So now I can play different variations of them where I don't start with a dice and sunflower. Instead, the axe gnome is still the same house, but the sawmill, which +1 money per day per adjacent tree. And I also get +1 health per day. Interesting. Or I could also get the ranger. It is random every time too, which is what I expected, but that's kind of cool. Adjacent trees. Wow, wait. That's super good. So we need to think about the long run, right? This does seem like a game where there seems to be some strategy, like some different builds, which is cool. I definitely feel like I'm strong enough to start just going all in on currency here. The area of effect stuff is pretty solid for this stuff, huh? Yeah, I like these axe gnomes. They're really powerful. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is what you call decimation. Uh-oh. That was a little close to comfort. I need more damage. Oh, gnomes +1 damage. Yes. So how much damage do they do now? Yeah, 4. That's actually a lot of damage increase. That should be pretty good. Should I be greedy? Yes. Oh man, these are. Okay, what do we got here? Oh no, not the burger goblins! You can make homeless gnomes with that mushroom. Call it gnomelessness. I'm gonna be greedy. I think I'm okay. Even though I don't think these guys do really well against against hamburger. Oh wow, okay, I'm dealing good damage though. Okay, well I should be fine with dealing with crowd controls. I'm just gonna buff up my axe. Single-use explosion. Oh, you know what? That could be pretty good to have right here as a last. These are pretty good. We'll do that. Now these guys do a lot of damage, right? With all the trees around them? Holy shrimp macaronis, that's gonna be really good. The tree one is so crazy powerful. Oh, +100 crit damage if you only have one gnome. Man, there are so many gnome potentials. Build potentials. Oh my gosh, what the hell? There are specific relics for specific gnomes? Including the one I'm using right now? Holy macaronis. Okay, I'm not doing the lantana build again, because that was a mistake. Did I just go all in on axes and say screw the freaking archer? Axe gnomes OP. Oh no, not the armored goblin. So, yep, that's going well. Oh, interesting. I can just completely block their path. Is that worth it? Man, this lumberjack build is going nuts. Okay, so let's all get them in one spot. Something like that. I think they agree. Let's just put more mines just in case. There you go. Whoever's staying in the garden shed, just don't leave to go do groceries. Just don't move. Well then. Last day, people. Cover an additional treasure goblin chunk each day. I have no idea what that does. Let's buy it for the funsies. Final round. Ooh. Goblin King. Oh boy. Okay, so there's a bajillion things to keep track of now. I should get more axe gnomes, that's for sure. He gets so many tents. Holy shrimp. Okay, well, at least they're all coming from here. That's pretty good. Definitely don't want to disperse them like that, but that's pretty good. So I think this area is pretty solid, but is it going to be good enough? We do have explosions. What about here? Harmless. Okay, so I just don't care too much about this guy up there. I think this looks pretty solid. Last day. Here we go. I think I've covered everything, right? Okay. Boom. 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 Did I not take damage? Nice! I didn't take damage, I think. Swamp unlocked. Endless mode. Oh, you can go endless mode. Naturally, that makes sense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue playing on my end. And I'll circle back. And we'll see how it looks like in just a moment. All right, gnomes! What a fun, cute, quote-unquote tower defense game. I've got to say, massive props to the originality. Like I've been saying, tower defense games, it's hard to make an actual good roguelike of that genre. They kind of go counter to each other because tower defense games are all about staying in one level without having too much new things going on in comparison to a lot of action roguelikes. And it's hard to make procedurally generated content when you're supposedly always on the same map. So far, I have not found a single tower defense roguelike that I think blends those two genres perfectly. So let's talk about this game. First off, audio visuals are adorable. First, when I was at the home screen and just the GNOMES logo with the gnome with the bloody knife, definitely a vibe. But the actual art, the in-game stuff, kind of is reminiscent of older games such as Dwarf Fortress. It kind of brings me back to visually, and the gameplay surprisingly as well. But I would say, yeah, the visuals are very minimalistic. It's a style for sure. It goes quite well in that regard. It also reminds me of Loop Hero. In terms of audio, the music is really cute, really nice, very simple. Really the highlight in that regard is more the actual sound design. Things happen fairly quickly. It's fairly fast-paced. When a round starts, enemies are very, very quick. And so there's a lot of sounds going on very quickly. And that can usually be fairly hard to design without it being too annoying. But I think in this instance, it is pretty amusing. And I think everything works out quite well from a sound design perspective. And same goes for animations. They're very simple, but they're satisfying, especially at the start of a new round when you see the tents fall down, the enemy tents, and you get your money. It's satisfying. It's simple, but satisfying. You know, it's a modern game that takes an old-fashioned approach, and you can really see that. Of course, the big question is the gameplay, right? So obviously you're placing towers, you're placing things on a map. It's about a map management. It's not just towers you have to put down. It's a combination of a lot of different things where you have to put down things to get money, and then you can synergize with different things in that regard, and you have to also put your actual gnomes are going to deal damage, and you have to put houses, and there's a lot to put on the map. And what that enables is the possibility of having a lot of different items having different synergies, since you have not just, towers that deal damage and towers that support other towers. No, you have a lot of different classes of quote-unquote towers, and that obviously enables a lot of possible content and a lot of possible unique synergies and builds, because this game seems to have a lot of cool content and a lot of different builds. It's definitely not just few towers and a few relics. No, this game knows that you're going to be seeing a lot of relics, so they made sure to have a lot of possible things to pick from at the shop, which is really cool. I like the fact that when you start playing, you have one loadout, and then when you eventually lose, you slowly enable more loadouts. The cool thing about the loadouts is that you're not restricted to whatever you start with. They just offer you specific relics to play around with at the beginning, but you can always go whatever path you want. It just is a great way for especially new players to kind of understand different strategies by having the loadouts early on. You can definitely see every time I go back to the home screen and seeing all the different guilds, is what they called, I'm starting to see more and more potential in terms of what path I want to go for every time I play. And I think that enables a lot of replayability. You place down your towers, your plants, your whatever, you press play, the rounds are extremely short, and then you have to survive 15 days, but I've got to imagine the fandom of this game is more about the endless modes, which I haven't really gotten to experience much because, as once again, there's definitely a learning curve to this game that I could see being pretty deep, which is very exciting. In terms of actual tower defense roguelikes, this is one where you really spend most of your time outside of the actual waves, because it's a lot of strategy. Once again, depending on where you want to place your towers, you know, it's a mixture of a lot of the other tower defense roguelikes I've seen. Tetris one, Ember War, I think it's called, where you have to place like Tetris blocks. Well, there's that in there. Loop Hero, well, there's also that in there. Traditional tower defense, where you just have to place turrets to deal damage, there's that in there. It's really a combination of a lot of different play styles, which definitely means that this is a pretty complicated game, which doesn't tend to be the case in general with tower defense games. Outside of Bloons Tower Defense, I mean, even Bloons Tower Defense 6, there's a lot of like deep knowledge and strategy in that game, but you can still, you know, a new player can, you know, have a good time. Here I could see like every time I was playing, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just a noob because I could see the potential craziness you can get from this game if you get to know a lot about like the different gnomes and different strategies and all the different enemies. There's always a lot to be looking at, especially when you get started, which can be a lot. I realized only after like an hour and a half that I really had to actually look at the different enemies that were going to be sent against me to really try to strategize where to place every gnome. It's really cool that every wave enemies are spawned randomly in different areas and you have to strategically move things accordingly. That's why it also takes a long time. But on the flip side, it does mean that this is a very slow-paced game, and you're always going to have to be moving your gnomes around unless you're an experienced player and you already start doing like a gnome maze, which I realize is probably like the late game like concept, but I didn't really get to play around with that much. I think it's really cool to have a tower defense game with such deep, cool strategies. I haven't really seen that outside of, once again, Bloons Tower Defense 6, which is not a roguelike. And obviously the roguelike elements, the relics that you'll find in the shops, they're really cool. They're obviously fairly straightforward, all things considered. Once you already have so many unique towers, it's easy to just have a relic that says, oh, this tower now deals more damage. Oh, this kind of class of towers now do this. Oh, these kind of things now do this. A lot of the relics don't by themselves do very unique things a lot of times, but they do unique things to other towers in the game. Every time you go into shop, I could just immediately see so many possible synergies. Once you get a lot of money, which there's a lot of ways of getting money, you can spend a lot of time in the shop, you can spend a lot of time outside of the shop, and I thought that visually it was going to be a lot and it was going to get a little confusing. And at first it does feel that way because since it's an old-fashioned kind of artwork, it can be a little hard visually to distinguish different gnomes, especially when there's a bunch of them. But I think they do a pretty good job at, you know, giving simple accessibility options. Mostly the fact that when a gnome is not going to be on the path of a goblin, there's an immediate button to just press to have that one gnome just be on your cursor now, and you can just move them around, which is really, really nice. That's a very simple but very important aspect that I think helps a lot with the pacing. It is definitely a slower game in terms of the amount of things that the player has to do, which is usually something that I complain about in the tower defense games, is the fact that some of the time you don't have enough to do. Definitely not the case here. So honestly, I would say if you're into pretty intense tower defense games like Bloons Tower Defense 6, where there's a lot to it, a lot of different strategies, and you like this kind of like old-fashioned art style. I don't know much about how deep this game is, but I know this is the kind of game that goes deep. And I'm only scratching the surface of it. I'm already excited to see how far could I go in an endless mode if I were to attempt it. That sounds interesting to you as someone who potentially wants to spend a long time really getting to understand all the little bits and pieces of kind of these strategies, then yeah, I do think Gnomes might be a game for you. But yeah, that's about it.